Hi Singapore, welcome to this special edition of SG Sports Uncut. I'm Raj Kumar. And in this segment, we're going to be speaking to a few participants in this weekend's Standard Chartered Singapore Marathon. Our first guest is 70-year-old Mr. Pang Boon Kow, and he suffers from Parkinson's. He's joined in the studio by his son Ronnie, and completing the lineup and taking part in her very first street marathon is Joelle Lim. Hi guys, welcome to this special Uncut edition. Today we are talking about the Standard Chartered Singapore Marathon 2019. Mr. Pang Boon Kow, we are less than 2 days to the start of the marathon. How are you feeling at this point in time? Excited?
As normal.
As normal?
Yeah.
So, not nervous?
No.
No. Okay. You and your son, Ronnie, will be taking part in the 5-kilometer version. How long have you been practicing for this Sunday?
We have been, for me myself, I've been practicing 3 times.
3 times?
3 times 5 kilo.
Okay.
So the rest is just leisure walk every day.
Okay. Okay, we'll come back to you in a minute. Let's hear from Joelle Lim. This will be your this will be your very first time competing in the full 42-kilometer marathon.
Yeah.
What's
the
going
road?
on the road? What's going through your mind right now as we count down to this Saturday evening's marathon that starts off at the F1 pit building?
I'm really excited. I think it's so cool that it's going to be a night festival this year. I think the ambience is going to be quite amazing with all the festivals and the spectator zones being set up. Another thing I'm really ecstatic about is not having to wake up at 2 a.m. in the morning and trying to stumble to the starting line and sleepwalk, halfway through the run. So it's really such a great bonus to do the run at 6 p.m. in the evening.
Right. You're no stranger to competing in this type of race, as your forte and your strength lies in having competed in obstacle races like the Spartan races, and this began sort of in 2016, very recent. So how is this first attempt in a marathon any different from competing in like a Spartan race?
Very different, I would say, because obstacle course racing comprises a lot of trail running and obstacle clearing. So you could be swimming across the lake and then throwing a spear at the next obstacle with a lot of running in between. So what keeps me going is really the adrenaline of having to clear the next obstacle, and really motivates me to run faster. With the road marathon, it's really going to be a 42K, consistent pacing, no adrenaline rush, so to speak, and the consistent pounding on the road.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be quite a mental challenge for me to go through the 42 click.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll do well. I mean,
Thank you.
we come to Ronnie Pang next, and you'll be walking with your father come this Sunday morning in the 5-kilometer category. So how many times would this be that you are together as father and son in a sort of a competitive event?
It's actually our very first time to join an event together.
Nice. What made you decide to choose the Singapore Marathon as your first?
Well, because my father, he decided to volunteer and take part in the event, so I decided to support him, and so by volunteering to just walk with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your father was diagnosed with Parkinson's 7 years ago. How have you come to deal with his illness over the last few years?
When we first knew about his diagnosis, we were all, of course, quite surprised and shocked by it. But at first, we didn't know anything about the illness, so eventually we slowly learned from reading and so on, and also after we read it, then we just teach him what it is and give him reading materials, websites to read about, ways to slow down the progression of the illness, and eventually I also just showed, hey, there's this the Parkinson Society Singapore, there's this place where you can go to, they have activities, and this eventually become like his second home now.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Pang, I understand that despite the illness, you have decided not to let that affect you mentally or physically. Perhaps you can share with us as to how you maintain a positive mindset in light of your illness.
Yeah, because I want to live normally like anybody person in Singapore. So I need to do exercise every single day. Okay, to push myself for a better tomorrow.
Okay. How do you stay positive?
To stay positive,
what do you think about when you're in terms of trying to stay positive? Ronnie, do you know?
Like for example, he would stay positive by sometimes also by encouraging his friends who are also in the society, and that's how he by helping others he learns he learns it that way too, and by occupying himself with a lot of physical activities,
Right.
and also by sometimes also just watching videos, online videos about the illnesses and so on.
And of course, like you said, just treat life as normal, listen to your favorite songs, favorite music, eat your favorite food. Mr. Pang, so some of the world's famous celebrities suffered from Parkinson's includes, of course, Muhammad Ali, the world, the late great boxing heavyweight champion, Hollywood star Michael J. Fox as well. They have been extremely vocal over the last 20 or 30 years. So Mr. Pang, were you inspired by them as well?
Yeah, you're right. They are great men. They did a lot of job, this and that. Collect a lot of fund racing, this and that. If I'm not wrong, it's 400 over million to do research, this and that. Okay, and I respect them. They did a good job.
Okay. Joelle, you specialize, like we said, in obstacle course racing, hence today, at the age of 42, and you're going to run the 42, the mother of 2 young kids. Why have you decided now to take on the challenge of a full marathon?
I think to do a road marathon has always been in my bucket list. I have gone for a longer distance in the trail, but just have never done it in the road. I want to do it for 2 reasons. One is really to inspire all the moms out there. It's never too late to kickstart their fitness journey, even after having kids. I started 4 years ago when my daughter turns 2, and I want to show the ladies and be able to really push our limits and say that it's not too late. Secondly, I think I want to demonstrate to my kids that talent might play a part when you participate, when you do a sport, but it really is the hard work and the perseverance that will help us to achieve our dream. So that's what I always tell my children, and I want to show them that if mommy can do it, you can do it too.
Nice. You've competed in several Spartan races and events all around the region. What made you decide for Singapore to be your road marathon debut?
I want to see Singapore to be one of the to be part of the World Marathon Major Series.
Okay.
It is such a prestigious and renowned marathon majors, and I think it will be such a privilege and honor to be part of the history making and to be involved and to see Singapore as one of the cities, along with Tokyo, London, New York, Chicago and
Boston and
Yeah.
Berlin.
Yes.
Yeah. Mr. Pang, we come back to you. So at the age of 70, you're still active in sports such as swimming, kickboxing, and exercising. What is your secret to keeping fit and active?
I want to live a normal life, and I want to see all my friends at one time. And people won't say that I got Parkinson.
Okay. I understand you also help your friends or others with Parkinson's to cope with the illness and possibly overcome, a potential depression. So how are you able to help them? I mean, you talk to them. What do you say to them?
No, I give them a call, I pay them a visit when they are free, this and that. Okay? So sometimes you bring them out, go to the void deck or the coffee shop to have lunch or have a cup of coffee to make him happy. Okay? So you feel very touching and that. Because Parkinson warrior, they need friends. So when you are diagnosed with Parkinson, all your friends, no more friends. So you pay them a visit, they are very happy.
That's good. Ronnie, perhaps you can tell us, how is your father able to take part this Sunday in the 5 kilometers in a this Sunday morning at the marathon? I mean, how is he able to control his movements?
Well, because for Parkinson warriors, they have a very strict medication routine to follow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So despite regardless the starting time and so on, and the medication that they take, okay, it may be at the time when the walk starts, it may clashes at the time when the effect of the medication has worn off.
Mm.
So knowing that they know that they will still have to carry on walking. So how my father tried to prepare himself is that he has been going for long walks and so on to try to understand better how his body will feel when the effect of medication wears off.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's ready for it, but he maybe also a bit nervous to wondering how he will be on the Sunday morning itself, and also because things can be quite unpredictable due to the effects of medication and how their body is. And so.
And I believe there's a time limit of 75 minutes.
Yes.
1 hour. So your father mentioned you all have, I think, trained about 3 times.
Yes.
You all managed to keep it within 75?
Yes, generally most of the team could keep up
Yeah.
with that. Yes.
Okay. For you personally, just like Joelle, you also take part in obstacle course competitions like the Spartan races. You haven't competed in the full marathon, the road version,
Yeah.
but you've competed in another version,
Yes.
which I think you're going to tell us what is this version.
Okay, so I've taken part twice in the trail marathon. So it's basically
Trail.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So once was in Singapore, and then where we ran from Macritchie, past to Bukit Timah to Bukit Panjang and back to Macritchie again. Yeah, the other time was in Malaysia in Sarawak. So I find it quite exciting and it's less mundane to run on the road. Yeah, because there are rocks to watch out for, there are bushes where you have to climb, slide, and so on. So it is more fun and exciting. Yeah.
Wow. Joelle?
Totally agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, you've also competed in this trail marathon version, 42 clicks.
Yeah, in fact, the same races that Ronnie went to, I was there too for this year. Yeah,
So
it was great.
So what? So it's totally different challenge from running on the street, on the road.
Definitely. I mean, running the road is really consistent pounding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that requires a lot of mental strength.
Okay. So for the benefit of the sports fans watching, perhaps you could share with us some of your toughest obstacle races which you've competed in, and how did you fare?
Okay, so every Spartan race or obstacle course racing has its own set of unique challenges. So I remember one was Philippines last year. They had a typhoon, and the typhoon was so bad that they actually had to postpone the race for 1 day. And the next day, we went ahead with the race, but the aftermath of the typhoon means that you had a terrible, muddy terrain, extremely difficult terrain to maneuver in. Yeah. And then other countries like Australia and South Korea, you have to deal with high elevation because they have the mountains, and in the South Korea they do it in the ski resort. So where the ski lift goes to, they get you to put on a tire, and then you have to do the same route and go all the way up to the peak. And that's quite challenging for us as Singaporeans, and I'm sure Ronnie will understand, because we don't have much elevation to train in. The highest elevation is Bukit Timah, and that's like 150 meters as compared to 2,000 plus meters of elevation that we have to deal with in Australia.
Wow.
Yeah, so those are really interesting and fun.
I understand you're the only Singaporean woman in her 40s in the top leaderboard of the series. Which series is this?
I was very blessed to be in the top series for 2017 for the Asia Pacific Championship, and also last year for the Southeast Asia series.
Okay.
Yeah.
Top 3.
Top 3, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so what about now, this Saturday, the marathon route and finishing at the floating platform? What do you think of the whole, the fact that you're going to be pounding the ground, as you say?
never done a 42K in Singapore, right, on the road. So I have done the East Coast route, and of course the popular start point at F1. I think the very new route to me will be the West Coast Highway. And I heard my friends warning me that it's an endless highway, and you don't see the end of the road basically, and then you have to do a U-turn and going all the way back again. So I think that would be quite interesting. Usually Standard Chartered Marathon finishes where the Padang area is.
Yeah,
so
this
this
time
year, they moved it further down and we're
platform.
finishing at the platform. So that would be really interesting.
It's all about mind over body.
Yes.
Right? Coming back to Mr. Pang, and close to 20 members from the Parkinson Society of Singapore will be taking part in the 5-kilometer event this Sunday. Can you tell us who does the 19 members include?
I know that there's 9 Parkinson warriors, 4 men and 9 women, and 3 helper, 3 helper and 4 volunteers.
So that's the whole group of 19 that will be
Yeah.
competing, okay?
And plus a few office staff.
Okay. And what is the overall mission or the objective of this team from Parkinson Society of Singapore to take part this Sunday? What is your aim or your target?
My aim is to see how far can I go. Okay. I have not walked 5 kilometers for couples of years. So this is a challenge for me.
Okay.
And I can just add on to
Sure.
what my father said. For the objective for the Parkinson Society Singapore, generally they always want to promote active living, living positively, and leading a healthy lifestyle. So through this event that they are joining the marathon, is to also create awareness about Parkinson to the greater public, to let people know what this is and how they can support, and there are people with Parkinson who are living among us, so that in our daily life we can be more on a greater lookout for them.
Okay. Staying with you, Ronnie. I believe there's a deadline, 75 minutes for the 5 kilometers. So what happens if the members are not able to finish within 75 minutes?
Well, if we really unable to finish it, then there'll be sweepers from the organizer itself who will be coming in from the end of the race, and then just trying to ensure us who are taking part, we are still safe, and then that we try to finish it within time, and so that they can just basically send us to the end of the end point.
Okay.
Of the race.
Okay. So the marathon is all about celebrating the Singapore spirit and getting people from all walks of life to come together for this one major event every year, but with multiple road closures for this massive event and for several hours. How would you hope for Singaporeans to approach in terms of being understanding, tolerant, just as how we've come to support the F1 night race every year?
In order, I guess, as a member of public to speak, as you say, I guess we can all really be more patient and towards the road closure, towards the participants, so that we can all be supportive and be happy that we are having such a big event in Singapore, and so many people are participating and generally really creating this event and this sense that hey, active living is a good thing, and then we should all be part of it.
Okay. Joelle, we come back to you. Will your own family be coming out to support you, or would you prefer to go there alone or with a friend, get the marathon done and come home satisfied and injury-free, most important?
Definitely injury-free. Going with a bunch of friends, and we are all quite excited because we've been training for the marathon. So it will be a good camaraderie to actually come together and complete the marathon together and celebrate each other's success. I think it would be too boring for my kids to hang around for 5 hours waiting for me to cross the finishing line.
They can watch the live streaming The organisers have live streaming on their Facebook page, so I think they can watch it there.
That's great.
So with less than 48 hours to the race, of course we're filming this segment on November 28th, which is a Thursday. So with less than 48 hours to the race, what is the final stage for the 42K? Of final stage of preparation?
Sure. Sleep, rest, hydrate well, and fuel well. I think all of us always think of sleep as a luxury, but really it's the best form of recovery, and it's free. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think really getting good night's sleep for these few days are quite important. Yesterday I was kind of struggling between Netflix and sleeping. And then I was reminded of the race on Saturday. I'm like, okay, no, I need to prioritize sleep.
Okay.
Yeah, and definitely to hydrate.
And having been in the grueling Spartan races, and now the longest running distance in your short athletic career, running distance is in the street, not the jungles or whatever. What do you tell yourself when you start to feel the fatigue in your legs, in your mind, begins to signal the intentions to stop pushing your body?
My one purpose is really to be able to inspire women to push their boundaries and to break their limits. So because of that, really often in my races, I tell myself I have to push myself, I have to push harder, because if I don't push, I don't achieve the kind of results that I am hoping for, then I'm not in a position to inspire more women to come onto this journey with me. So a lot of time that really keeps me going, doing it beyond my own PB, my personal best.
Okay. Ronnie, the 5-kilometer event is taking place on Sunday morning at 8:30 onwards. What will you and your dad be doing the night before the event?
Same like what Joelle said, so basically just eat well and having a good rest for it.
Okay. It's no secret, we are into the rainy part of the year, the season, at this time of the year. Thus, how challenging would it be if it starts to rain and you and your fellow members have already started on the 5-click route?
Well, of course, safety is the most important. So, well, if it really starts raining and depending on what the event organizers say, if unfortunately we have to stop, we have to. If not, well, we can still put on a poncho and just continue walking. Yeah.
I think the race will probably stop if there's lightning, but if there's no lightning, it would still push through. That's usually for the major sporting events. Mr. Pang, do you and your team from the Parkinson Society of Singapore plan to wear same color T-shirts, and how do you plan to motivate the other warriors to complete?
We will wear the Parkinson T-shirt with the logo of Parkinson.
Okay, and then how you got other warriors as well who will be taking part. So what do you plan to say to them to keep them positive?
Yeah, we need to do it and then just do it. Okay.
Okay. What would you say to the plans of Singapore trying to be on the same level of the top marathon cities like New York, Tokyo, Chicago? Do you think Singapore can reach that level?
Can, just push harder. Okay, we can do it.
Yes. See, it is as that simple. Just push harder, right? Ronnie, Ronnie, what do you think? Is Singapore, speaking as a member of the public, is Singapore ready to be included in the World Marathon Majors? If not, what else do you think we need to work on?
Well, we can, from participating in some of the events and races in Singapore, well, I think there are still a lot more people who can take part to participate to make physical events, running events bigger and more popular, such as like what we mentioned, for example, like even I say trail running. Yeah, there are people participating, but it's not as big as what we would expect it to be. Yeah, so as long as we can get more people out there, yeah, we can definitely rise on the same levels as other major cities.
Okay, and in terms of sponsorship and raising further support for the Parkinson Society of Singapore, how can the public and perhaps even the corporates reach out to the organization?
Well, first of all, there's a website. The Parkinson Society Singapore has a website. Members of the public can visit the website.
Yep.
There are several members who are actually running the marathon for Parkinson Society. Yeah, so those are the few ways that the public can help to raise funds and raise awareness for everyone.
So, your father has had this illness for a few years. Where do you think? How do you think the funds are utilized?
For various means such as organizing the activities, it can be also engaging trained instructors, coaches, so that they can coach physical activities for them, such as even say kickboxing. Sometimes it can be some karaoke sessions, some hands-on and craft sessions. Yeah. So these are the few ways that the funds are utilized.
Okay, so the official website is parkinson.org.sg. Parkinson.org.sg. Joelle, just before we wrap up this segment, perhaps you can tell us what result or timing would you be satisfied with in your very first street marathon race?
It's very dangerous to declare out. Just aiming for sub 5
Under 5
hours.
under 5 hours.
Yeah. So hopefully I get that done and dusted, and maybe I won't have to do a road marathon again.
So a road marathon is under 5. The one that the trails?
For the trail was with 60 plus obstacles, 50 kilometers run. So that took me about 8 hours in Sarawak. We did Sarawak.
Amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Ronnie, I have to ask you, when are you hoping to compete in your very first road marathon?
Well, since I've taken part in the trail marathon, so maybe next year I will hope to take part. Yeah,
Right.
definitely hoping Singapore can host a nice big one.
Yeah. Mr. Pang, your son already say next year he will take part, 42 kilometers.
Okay, I will support him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good job. All right. So, what is your message to Singaporeans? To come out this weekend to support, to rally. What is your final message?
I would say regardless of your sports, whether if it's running or whether if it's even doing other sports, let's come together as one nation, and really stand together as one, and cheer and support the other runners as we try to bid for the World Marathon Majors. I really kind of hope that it will be another Joseph Schooling moment. I mean, it's not quite as grand as that, but it's really coming together as a nation to work towards a dream. Another to be able to get into the World Marathon Majors, it would be quite a dream to come true.
Nice. That's right. All right. Mr. Pang Boon Kow, Ronnie and Joelle Lim, thank you very much for coming for this special edition. We wish all the three of you the very best in the full marathon as well as the 5 kilometers on Sunday. Let's hope for a great turnout from the public as well as great weather, and all the best for this weekend as well as for 2020 as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you just heard from a few participants as well as the event partners and organizers. And we wish everyone who's going down this weekend for the 2019 Standard Chartered Singapore Marathon the very best, and of course great weather. Well, if you have any feedback or comments on this show, feel free to drop us an email at sgsportsuncut@gmail.com. Till the next time, I'm Raj Kumar. Bye for now.